Now on CoastTV News.
Major deadlines, uncertain outcomes. New tariffs take effect this morning. What it could mean for prices here at home. Plus, a major foreign policy deadline is just days away. President Trump says he's willing to meet with Russia's leader, but only under one condition. High demand, high dollars, big numbers for the first state's first weekend of recreational marijuana sales, and we'll tell you just how much revenue Delaware brought in. New plans taking shape. A major project along Delaware's coast is expanding, and it's all about protecting what's been slowly washing away.
We're looking at drier conditions to end the week for Delmarva with more in the way of sunshine. The weekend is looking pretty good. I'll have your forecast details coming up next.
This is CoastTV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off. Thank you for joining us for our 5 o'clock hour on this Thursday morning. Yesterday afternoon, we experienced some light showers, but first alert meteorologist Bob Trahey is going to tell us if we need that rain jacket again today. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Delmarva. And I think we can substitute the raincoat with the sunglasses. We're going to be seeing the sunshine reemerging today. We're already starting to see some clearing skies out there across Sussex County, still hanging on to some showers. Southern tip of Delmarva, we're seeing some rain offshore. So for the anglers going out for the White Marlin Open, you might want a raincoat out there. And we're seeing a few more showers to the south, but high pressure is reestablishing itself along the east coast. So I think we will see some drier air mixing in. Temperatures right now, 60s and low 70s, 70 in Gumboro, 73 Bethany Beach, Rehoboth 72 degrees. And the winds, they're breezy out of the east, around 15 to 20 miles per hour at the coast, a little lighter inland and gusting close to 30. That means choppy seas, anglers, so watch for that in a small craft advisory with breezy conditions as we start to clear things out a little more. Mid-morning, upper 70s and then low 80s by the noon hour. Once again, pretty breezy at the coast. We'll see some clouds from time to time, an outside chance of a sprinkle, but temperatures a little bit below average in the 70s to right around 80 degrees. So those winds will be strong out of the east, gusting close to 30 miles per hour. Seas may be as high as 7 to 8 feet for the White Marlin Open out there in the ocean, and temperatures into the mid to upper 70s this afternoon. I think we'll end the week drier, and right now the weekend is looking pretty good. I'll have more on your forecast coming up a little bit later in the newscast.
Thank you, Bob. Our top story this half hour, we expect certification of the unofficial results of the District 20 special election today. According to officials, results are usually certified 2 days post the election in Delaware. According to unofficial results, it was on Wednesday that Alana Berry became the new representative of the 20th District. This after a razor-thin margin in just 121 votes between Berry and her opponent, Nikki Miller. And we are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. The president's tariff plan as of midnight now in effect, but not without some last-minute changes and a possible addition. New overnight also today is the eve of a White House ultimatum to the Kremlin demanding a ceasefire in Russia's war with Ukraine. NBC's Jay Gray shows us how things are moving very quickly on both fronts.
Apple is announcing that it will
in an Oval Office meeting with Apple CEO Tim Cook, touting the company's promise to invest $600 billion in U.S. manufacturing over the next 4 years, President Trump announces a new tariff on semiconductors and chips with one caveat.
So 100% tariff on all chips and semiconductors coming into the United States. But if you've made a commitment to build, or if you're in the process of building, as many are, there is no tariff.
Specifics, including when the tech tariffs will take place and exactly how U.S. manufacturers will qualify for an exemption, still aren't clear. What is clear, though, is the president's frustration with India.
They're fueling the war machine, and if they're going to do that, then I'm not going to be happy.
Raising the country's tariff from 25% to 50% just hours before the plan goes online as a punishment for buying oil from Russia. Announcing that decision, as Special Envoy, Steve Witkoff meets with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow ahead of a Friday deadline for increased U.S. economic sanctions if there's no ceasefire with Ukraine. The president on social media calling the meeting highly productive and writing, "Great progress was made," suggesting that there may now be a path to face-to-face meetings with Putin and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky.
That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
A White House official telling NBC News there's no set plan or location, but that the meeting could take place as early as next week. Jay Gray, NBC News, Washington.
Cape Henlopen State Park could be in for some big changes, from trail upgrades to pier repairs and even a new bathhouse. This according to the August report from the Delaware State Parks. Design work is nearly complete for a new path connecting the bathhouse parking lot to the Point Comfort Station. Gordon's Pond Trail is facing erosion concerns from flooding and overwash. Engineers are looking at raising or reinforcing the trail in key areas. That design is 90% finished. Sections of the wooden fishing pier are off limits due to damage. Officials are considering whether to replace or repair. And the McBride bathhouse is under review as well. Engineers have finished a structural assessment, and the state is waiting on a report this summer to help decide on a potential rebuild. The building has been up since 1976, and DENREC says there have been no major renovations since the beginning. CoastTV News reporter Brandon Ferguson shows us those plans DENREC has for the site.
People walk through the McBride bathhouse, headed to the beach. On your screen now is footage from November, a look inside the bathroom that DENREC says is outdated and old. That's what one woman CoastTV spoke with says is a major problem when visiting the state park.
It's a gem of Delaware. We bring lots of friends here, but the bathhouse definitely needs work. It's kind of almost shameful at times. It's so loaded with flies and sand, and people don't have any place to put their garbage, so they leave the garbage on the floor.
For local Charlie Hench, he doesn't see any problem with the bathhouse.
So I think it should stay the way it is. You know, why spend the Henlopen's money or Delaware's money unnecessarily?
That blue square on your screen is where original plans called for a new bathhouse to go on a dune just a few hundred feet away. The project secured $1 million in funding from a bond bill in fiscal year 2025. But there's been no date released of when renovations could happen at the McBride bathhouse.
DENREC tells CoastTV that any plans could change depending on environmental concerns. At the Cape Henlopen State Park, Brandon Ferguson, CoastTV News.
We are now halfway through this year's White Marlin Open competition. It's the largest billfish tournament in the world. After 3 days, we finally have a qualifying white marlin. The boat Billfisher currently holds the top spot. Their fish weighs 72 pounds and has earned a whopping $4.3 million for the catch. We will have more on those totals later on CoastTV News today. The scales are open at Harbor Island Marina at 4 this afternoon until 9:15 tonight. Happening today, demolition discussion. The Lewis Historical Preservation Architectural Review Commission will meet to discuss several structures in the city. According to the agenda, officials will hear an update on a building located on Coleman Avenue. The building is currently condemned and set for demolition. This is set to take place tonight at the Margaret H. Rollins Center. We are still many months away from the Christmas season, but Rehoboth Beach is already on the search for this year's tree. The city is asking locals willing to donate the season staple to use as this year's centerpiece. The city would cut down and transport the tree. According to officials, the ideal tree is 25 to 35 feet tall and would be installed the week before Thanksgiving. And the search is especially important as the city has had bad luck the past 2 years with its Christmas trees. Take a look at this video from 2024. High winds blew down the Christmas tree. This was shortly before Thanksgiving, and it was soon put back upright. And in 2023, the 40-foot tree actually snapped in half during installation. All was going smoothly with transport until the tree was lifted off of the trailer. The city ended up making the best of a bad situation and just used the upper 2/3 of the tree, which measured around 25 feet tall. On the coast, plans to replenish the Indian River Inlet are expanding. About 5,000 feet of beach north of the inlet will get 550,000 cubic yards of dredged sand, and the north part of the inlet has long had issues with erosion, including dune breaches last year. This comes after work this spring. This next phase of work starts in the fall. New this morning, a new dispensary is getting ready to open its doors in Frankfort. Town officials say the farm will celebrate its grand opening this morning. Despite recreational marijuana's mixed options in Sussex County, town manager Sheldon Hudson supports the new addition. This event will take place at 9:30 this morning at the store located at DuPont Boulevard. Big numbers from the first weekend of recreational weed sales in the first state. Delaware officials say the state racked up over $903,000 in total sales, including $625,000 from adult use alone. Officials say flower made up more than half of all the sales, and dispensaries passed state compliance checks with no issues. And we're just getting started this morning on Coast TV News Today. We still have a lot more news to get to. Coming up, invasive species garner new grants in Maryland. We'll tell you a new grant that will help the state tackle blue catfish on Tilghman Island. And a major change in Milford for police salaries. We'll tell you why city officials said this change was necessary. But first, a mother's mission to honor her fallen son, how one local family is turning grief into a lasting legacy. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
From the time he could talk, Joey Marquez's family tells us he dreamed of serving the United States in the military. But tragically, 3 years ago, Joey lost his life in a training accident. And ever since then, his family has worked tirelessly to keep his memory alive. And in this week's Coastal Connections, Elisa Weber introduces us to Joey's mother and shows us how we can help honor her son's legacy.
And we spent a lot of time down at the beach.
Ever since Joey was little, his mother, Kristen, says his lifelong dream was to serve.
Ever since he could talk, that's all he ever said. So we just knew that's what he was always going to do.
At just 17, Joey enlisted, turning that dream into a reality.
Everything he did, he was just a very thoughtful, dedicated, loyal young man, very giving. And nobody was surprised that he wanted to sacrifice to serve our country.
While doing practice training in Yakima, Joey was tragically killed during an accident at the age of 19. The time is now 5:18 and we are taking a live look outside at Lewis this morning. And Bob, we are working on some windier weather today, so if you are by the water like there in Lewis, you're going to be prepared for some breezes, which is always a nice thing in the summertime.
I would think so, refreshing, but for the anglers for the White Marlin Open, Elisa, a different story. That's going to make their ride a little bumpy out there. White caps and bigger swells in the ocean today, maybe as high as 8 feet. Now, I'm expecting upper 70s today, mid to upper 70s, basically through the rest of the Open, and we're looking at those gusty winds today and tomorrow out of the east and then northeast on Saturday, gusting over 35 miles per hour. So prepare for that. Lots of white caps and building swells, but at least by Sunday, we're looking at lots of sunshine. Small craft advisory for the Atlantic Ocean and the inland bays too, along the Delaware coast, and then once again around Ocean City, and then heading out for those guys, it's going to be windy out there with white caps and building seas. And even on the bay side, Chesapeake Bay, small craft advisory until this evening for 1 to 2 foot waves. Out the door, we're looking at temperatures in the 60s and 70s, 67 in Salisbury, Georgetown 69, 73 in Ocean City, and 73 a popular number all the way up to Lewis. And you can see those east winds really kicking up along the coast around 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting to 24 Indian River Inlet, 22 in Ocean City, and they'll be gusting even higher as we go through the day. Not as windy for inland areas as we're looking at some clearing skies. The rainy system that we saw yesterday starting to move offshore. We have high pressure reestablishing itself across the east coast. So we're looking at drier air building in, and there's the rain to the south. So finally getting into some sunshine. While to the southeast coast, we're looking at possible tropical development here. Right now, the Hurricane Center is not really thinking that this is going to develop into a big system, but we're looking at basically no chance of development the next 2 days. And then in the next 7 days, maybe a 1 in 3 chance as it moves to the northeast, but staying to our southeast for this weekend. I think we're looking at a nice weekend on the way. Futurecast showing the breezy conditions with the colorful arrows, and we're looking at sunshine and some clouds today. By the noon hour, lower 80s inland, 70s at the beaches, and windier there as well. An outside chance of a stray sprinkle or shower this afternoon, otherwise near 80 inland, 70s at the beaches. And overnight, we're looking at mainly clear skies and 60s and 70s. 70s to start on your Friday, and then Friday looking pretty good by mid-afternoon, looking at temperatures into the 80s with gusty winds up to about 30 miles per hour at the coast as we go through today and tonight. And Friday still on the breezy side, beginning to diminish on Saturday, and we're still dealing with wildfire smoke. I think today and tomorrow morning especially, then things do start to clear out and that smoke starts to thin out with time as we're looking at kind of muggy conditions the next several days, but really not too bad. And this weekend we'll see that system bypassing us to the southeast. Otherwise, we're looking at sunshine and quiet conditions into the weekend. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast, right around 80 through the end of the week, and a mix of sun and clouds on the weekend looking good. 81 Saturday, 83 Sunday, then increasing heat and humidity next week. By Wednesday, partly cloudy and 90 degrees. Congratulations to Jerry Geyer from Ellendale on winning a brand new umbrella. From Paul Davis and Coast TV.
Police pay in Milford will be bumped up. The city council meeting authorized the 2026 pay scale to be approved in a 5-2 vote. The main focus of this pay scale was raising the pay grade of the police chief from a grade 13 to a 14. Now that means the police chief will make $125,000, as well as raising a police captain and lieutenant to grade 13 and 12 respectively. Milford Mayor Todd Collada says this move aligns with the city's pursuit of maintaining public safety.
So we want a adequate, well-trained, well-educated, professional police force, and we want to attract the best. And I think we've done that. You know, we have a fully staffed police force in a time that it's very difficult to find police.
And Mayor Todd Collada told Coast TV this pay change allows Milford to better compete with surrounding agencies. An endangered bird is back in the wild thanks to a rescue made by Delaware environmentalists. Here is Nomad, the piping plover, according to Denrick. He was found at Fowler Beach, unable to fly, likely hurt while escaping a predator. But he was treated and Nomad recovered within a week. Biologists chose to release him in a much safer nesting site at Cape Henlopen State Park. Up next on Coast TV News today, invasive species garner new grants in Maryland. We'll tell you how Maryland officials say a $6 million grant will be used. Don't go anywhere. On Maryland's eastern shore, federal leaders say an invasive species in the Chesapeake Bay could reel in real benefits. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins was in Talbot County this week. She joined Congressman Andy Harris to tour a seafood processing plant on Tillman Island. The USDA announced a $6 million in grant money to help seafood processors, especially when it comes to blue catfish.
Representative Harris and I are working together to get a win for our rural communities who now have a new processing facility that will support good paying jobs. A win for our fishermen who are ridding the Chesapeake of a destructive invasive species, and a win for our local communities who have another source of protein from the charitable and for the charitable feeding network.
The invasive catfish have threatened native species for years, but officials say more processing power means more jobs, more food, and more opportunities, all to turn a bay problem into a national solution. And if you're going to the beach today, Bob, you were talking about those rip current warnings. You're going to need to be careful if you go into the water.
Absolutely. The rip current risk is high, Elisa. So if you're not a strong swimmer, I would say probably stay out of the water. And if you are swimming, make sure you're swimming at a guarded beach or with a buddy, because it's going to be choppy and rough out there and windy. Mid-70s today in Ocean City, mix of sun and clouds. Similar conditions in Fenwick Island. UV index also very high as the sunshine makes a return. Waves around 2 to 4 feet. And we're looking at mid to upper 70s from Lewis into Rehoboth. On the bay side, close to 80 today. Breezy for you too. And then upper 70s in Crisfield as we're looking at pretty nice conditions continuing into the weekend. More in your forecast coming up in the next half hour.
And after the break on Coast TV News today, marijuana moves forward. We'll tell you about the success Delaware says it reached after its recreational market opened and how the industry could be expanding in Sussex County. And Parks planned upgrades will tell you the status of several projects at Cape Henlopen State Park. And tariff deal deadline decisions will tell you about the last-minute major increase for one country and why the president says this bump was intentional. Coast TV News today will be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
Major deadlines, uncertain outcomes. New tariffs take effect this morning. What it could mean for prices here at home. Plus, a major foreign policy deadline is just days away. President Trump says he's willing to meet with Russia's leader, but only under one condition. High demand, high dollars, big numbers for the first state's first weekend of recreational marijuana sales, and we'll tell you just how much revenue Delaware brought in. New plans taking shape. A major project along Delaware's coast is expanding, and it's all about protecting what's been slowly washing away.
We're looking at drier conditions to end the week for Delmarva, with more in the way of sunshine. The weekend is looking pretty good. I'll have your forecast details coming up next.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off. It is 5:30 on this Thursday morning. Thank you for joining us for our 5 o'clock hour. We have been talking over the past half hour about cooler temperatures and breezier conditions, but first Alert meteorologist Bob Trahey is going to tell us if you want to go into the water at the beach today, you're going to need to be extra careful. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Elisa, and that is true because the rip current risk is high. You really want to exercise caution and really swim only if you're a strong swimmer. Otherwise, we're looking at skies beginning to clear out. Of course, we had some of that rain yesterday, and still some showers hanging on around the southern tip of Delmarva. We're seeing more of those showers offshore and a few more to the south, but we have high pressure building in, and that's reestablishing some drier air over the top of us. As we're looking at temperatures, not too bad out the door, into the 60s and low 70s. Those winds are strong out of the east, already sustained over 20 miles per hour, gusting around 24 Indian River Inlet, 22 in Ocean City. So a breezy day, and temperatures running a little bit below average as we're rising through the 70s this morning. By noon, lower 80s inland, 70s at the coast, and maybe a stray shower as we go into the afternoon. A bit of a bumpy ride, some whitecaps on the way up to Cape May on the ferry with a strong easterly wind, and temperatures in the mid to upper 70s through this morning and early afternoon.
Thank you, Bob. We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. The president's tariff plan as of midnight is now in effect, but not without some last-minute changes and a possible addition. Our top story this half hour: in an Oval Office meeting with Apple CEO Tim Cook, President Trump announces a new tariff on semiconductors and chips. Specifics include when the tech tariffs will take effect and exactly how U.S. manufacturers will qualify for an exemption. That still is not clear. What is clear, though, is the president's frustration with India, raising the country's tariff from 25% to 50% just hours before the plan goes online.
They're fueling the war machine, and if they're going to do that, then I'm not going to be happy.
According to the president, this is a punishment for buying oil from Russia. And we expect certification of the unofficial results of the District 20 special election today. According to officials, results are usually certified 2 days post-election in Delaware. According to unofficial results, it was on Tuesday that Alana Berry became the new representative for the 20th District. This after a razor-thin margin of just 121 votes between Berry and her opponent, Republican Nikki Miller. Cape Henlopen State Park could be in for some big changes, from trail upgrades to pier repairs and even a new bathhouse. This according to the August report from the Delaware State Parks. Design work is nearly complete for a new path connecting the bathhouse parking lot to the Point Comfort Station. Gordon's Pond Trail is facing erosion concerns from flooding and overwash. Engineers are looking at raising or reinforcing the trail in key areas. That design is 90% finished. Sections of the wooden fishing pier are off limits due to damage. Officials are considering whether to repair or replace. On the coast, plans to replenish the Indian River Inlet are expanding. About 5,000 feet of the beach north of the inlet will get 550,000 cubic yards of dredged, and the north part of the inlet have long had issues with erosion, including dune breaches last year. This comes after work this spring. This next phase of work starts in the fall. New this morning, a new dispensary is getting ready to open its doors in Frankfort. Town officials say the farm will celebrate its grand opening this morning. Despite recreational marijuana's mixed opinions in Sussex County, town manager Sheldon Hudson supports the new addition. That event will take place in just a few hours at 9:30 at the store located on DuPont Boulevard. And big numbers from the first weekend of recreational marijuana sales in the first state. Delaware officials say the state raked up about $903,000 in total sales, including $625,000 from adult use alone. Officials say flower made more than half of all the sales, and dispensaries passed state compliance checks with no issues. This just in, communities across the country are coping with different natural disasters this week. Reed Binion shows us as wildfires rage in the west, other areas are seeing flooding.
It was just amazing how fast it came, flash flooded. It happened quick.
Deadly flooding hitting North Carolina Wednesday. 2 people were killed in Nash County after authorities say their car was overtaken by fast-moving water. They managed to get out of the vehicle and police responded, but despite an officer's heroic efforts, they fell in the water and were swept away.
I saw her partially submerged. I ran and dove in, tried to grab her. I never got to her. Once she went under, I never saw her again.
Other parts of the country saw high water as well this week, including North Dakota, where widespread flooding swept across the state. Meanwhile, fires continue to rage in the west. In Southern California, the Gifford Fire, the state's largest wildfire of the year, has burned more than 91,000 acres and was just 9% contained as of Wednesday night. Crews battling the blaze are contending with a heat wave as they fight the flames. New evacuation orders were issued Wednesday. Other states in the West seeing heavy fire activity include Colorado, where evacuations were ordered in response to the Lee Fire, which nearly doubled in size in just 24 hours, covering nearly 45,000 acres and 0% contained as of Wednesday night. And in Washington state, the Bear Gulch Fire has grown to more than 5,000 acres.
To see this part of our state engulfed in flames is heartbreaking.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
We are just getting started this morning on Coast TV News Today. We still have a lot more news to get to. Coming up, media app merger will tell you what customers can expect after the Disney Plus and Hulu app become one. And to look at the leaderboards, we check in on the White Marlin Open and see if there are any big changes after 3 days. And plant problem what organizers at one community garden in Seaford are doing to prevent future issues after recent tampering. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
5:40 on our Thursday morning. Starting to see some daylight on the Dry Tech Cam in Ocean City. It's breezy and we're looking at mostly cloudy skies right now. Finally going to see some sunshine today. Out the door, looking at temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Strong easterly winds right now, around 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting close to 30. So anglers going out for the White Marlin Open, you're going to be dealing with some bigger waves and whitecaps today. As we're looking at clearing skies across Sussex County, still some lingering showers farther to the south, southern tip of Delmarva, but Ocean City right now, you're good. Looks like some rain showers offshore, so anglers keep that in mind as we're starting to dry things out as high pressure is beginning to build in. Here's your golf forecast for today. We are looking at really good conditions out there. It will be a little breezy on the golf course, sun and clouds, and a high around 80 degrees. And congratulations to Jerry Geyer once again from Ellendale on winning a brand new umbrella from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
A community staple in Seaford has suffered a big blow. Volunteers noticed tampering in the community garden over the past few days. Heads of sunflowers were cut off and taken, and plants were ripped at the roots. The saddest part, it's going to hurt those who need it the most. 1,200 pounds of produce was donated to those in need just last year. Seaford Mayor Matt McCoy expressed his concern and his willingness to help the community garden move forward.
I know it hurts today to see the vandalism. What we want to do now is, what can we do to prevent this from happening again? So as a city, as a mayor, I want to help them. What things do you guys want as a board? Do you want to establish additional security measures? If it's fencing, if it's cameras, whatever you want to talk about, let's have the conversation, see what we can do as a city to help you, make sure this never happens again.
The founder of the garden says the board has considered putting up cameras in the community garden in Seaford. A 19-year-old from Salisbury is accused of impersonating a Maryland state trooper in Wicomico County. Troopers say Jaden Ballard made traffic stops in a patrol vehicle while wearing a Maryland State Police uniform earlier this year. Police are asking anyone who may have interacted with Ballard in Wicomico County to contact Maryland State Police.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studio.
What's going on, everybody? Day 3 of the White Marlin Open has concluded. Let's see how those leaderboards have shifted.
And would you look at that? We got our first white marlin of the tournament, and it's a local angler out of Ocean City with a 72-pounder with a current award of a whopping $4.26 million. It's still early, but what a catch by Bill Fisher. And the top of the leaderboard for the blue marlin remains the same. That 929-pound blue marlin caught on day one stays at number one in their category. As for tuna, Bo Mama C remains in first, reeling in that 95-pounder on day two. But we have a new second and third place. No Limit reeled in a 92-pound tuna, and Boat Don't Ask had a 61-pounder. As for the dolphin category, boat Barbara B still on top of the 32-pound dolphin, followed by Rochambeau with the 27-pounder and Sweet Freedom with the 26 pounds. Now remember, the tournament is now extended until Sunday, so there is still a lot of time for these leaderboards to fluctuate. And speaking of our leaderboards, none of this will be possible without our great sponsor, Rudy Marine.
White Marlin Open leaderboard coverage is sponsored by RudyMarine.com, where family boating begins.
And tonight on DSN, your game of the night at 7:30, it's zip skimboarding. Then you can catch the final score at 10:30. Today in entertainment news, a star-studded fundraiser, a music documentary, and some familiar heroes join the Battle Royale. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
Hey there, this is Dolly, coming to you straight from Nashville.
Stand Up to Cancer is headed to Music City. Reese Witherspoon and Tim McGraw are among the celebs taking part in this year's fundraiser, hosted by Sheryl Crow. The special airs Friday, August 15th on more than 30 broadcast, cable, and streaming platforms.
He said, I have to tell you something about me. I'm not gonna last that long.
It's never over. Jeff Buckley looks at the rising music star who released his critically acclaimed debut album, Grace, then drowned at the age of 30. The documentary, featuring never-before-seen footage from Buckley's archives and interviews with those who knew him best, opens in theaters Friday.
We thought it was the end of times. Turns out, it's morphin' time.
The mighty Morphin Power Rangers have arrived in Fortnite, and they're not alone. The new season of the wildly popular Battle Royale, titled Shock and Awesome, includes the colorful heroes fighting alongside Spartan soldiers from the Halo universe. Fortnite's new season is underway today. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from CoastTV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at CoastTV.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
We're waking up to clouds, breezy conditions in Lewis right now on the Irish Eyes cam, and we're looking at some sunshine returning today, finally. And temperatures still a little bit on the cooler side, really the rest of the week, and the weekend is looking pretty good. I'll have more on your forecast details coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
And we are taking a live look outside at Rehoboth Beach today. And Bob, you've been talking about some windier conditions, which when you're at the beach, that's refreshing, unless you're in the White Marlin Open.
That's right.
Challenging.
Yeah, we're going to see whitecaps out there. You can already see the Atlantic is a little churned up on the camera there, Elisa, and we're going to be looking at that bumpy ride for the anglers heading out this morning. So take your Dramamine. You're going to need it, as we're going to see some big waves, maybe up to about 8 feet, and temperatures in the mid to upper 70s the next few days. The strongest winds today and tomorrow, gusting over 30 miles per hour, and some of those swells up to 8 feet well out the Atlantic. With upper 70s into the weekend, sunshine on Sunday. We'll be watching a system passing to our south and east, so I think we're looking at good weather. Small craft advisory today, however, until 8 p.m. Atlantic Ocean and the inland bays of Delaware, and then down the coast around Ocean City and then the inland bays there. We're looking at a small craft advisory too, and then for the Chesapeake Bay, today. That goes until Thursday evening, a small craft advisory. 70 in Millsboro now, 69 in Georgetown, Willard 67, 73 in Ocean City as the breezes are picking up around 10, 15, 20 miles per hour at the coast, gusting close to 25. Indian River Inlet, not as strong inland areas. As we're seeing the clouds beginning to break up now, when we're seeing showers moving offshore. So if you're an angler heading out into the Atlantic, might be encountering some of these showers a little bit later on. Otherwise, we're seeing things beginning to quiet down as high pressure is reestablishing itself across the East Coast. So that'll bring in drier air, and we'll finally start to see some sunshine as well. Meanwhile, off the southeast coast, we're seeing a system trying to develop right now. At this point, it does not look like it will turn into a tropical system. If it does, it would be named Aaron, but it does not look like it's going to be strong, as we have basically a 0% chance of it developing in the next 48 hours and about a 30% chance in the next 7 days. Whatever develops will pass to our southeast this weekend. As we're looking at breezy conditions today and temperatures in the 60s and 70s to start, it'll be breezy with sunshine and a few clouds as well. By noon, around 80 in Georgetown, Millsboro also 80, mid to upper 70s at the beaches, but feeling cooler with that easterly breeze. And there's an outside chance of a sprinkle or light shower into the afternoon, otherwise clearing out through the overnight. And then Friday morning, we're starting out in the 60s, so pretty pleasant. And then another breezy day on Friday with temperatures in the 70s and low 80s. And heading out for your Friday evening, I think it's looking pretty good. Those winds gusty as we go through this morning, 25 to 30 miles per hour, and still pretty breezy all day. And then even into Friday, still seeing that persistent east-northeast wind, maybe not as strong as today. Here is our muggy meter, and it's muggy to comfortable at times the next several days. So all in all, not too bad. And then next week starts getting pretty humid and hot. And we're looking at that system to our south and east, keeping us mainly high and dry with sunshine this weekend. Some clouds from time to time, but I think we're looking really good as we head into the weekend. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast, near 80 today and tomorrow. And then for the weekend, 81 Saturday, 83 on Sunday, mostly sunny. Then we start to crank up the temperatures a little bit next week, 86 Monday, and by Wednesday, hot and muggy, and 90 and partly cloudy skies.
Out-of-county trash officially banned at the Wicomico County landfill. Late last month, it came out that the Wicomico landfill was on the brink of a crisis because it was filling up too quickly. The county says the issue was commercial haulers picking up trash from other counties and then dumping it in Wicomico. This new legislation makes that illegal and allows the county to impose fines and possibly even ban violators from the landfill altogether.
We have to go in the right direction. This legislation is going to help us do that by actually codifying penalty phases for people that are bringing it from outside of the county. As we can see, we've already seen a decrease in traffic. Is that going to be enough to really pull us out of the crisis? You have to hope it's going to be enough.
The county executive says she does not intend to sign that bill into law. She does intend to sign that bill into law, excuse me. Hulu and Disney Plus will soon be combined into one app. The company announced that a new unified Disney Plus and Hulu streaming app will be available in 2026. According to a Disney representative, customers will still be able to buy a standalone Hulu subscription as well as a standalone Disney Plus plan. The new streaming service will feature entertainment, news, and sports content that currently exists on both apps. Disney Plus and Hulu combined for more than 180 million subscribers. Disney took over Hulu in 2019 from 21st Century Fox. Minecraft fans appear to have built up the golden arches. McDonald's is reporting quarterly sales growth of 2.5% thanks to, in part, the meal deals tied with the Minecraft movie. It was the restaurant's largest chain marketing campaign in company history. In addition to launching a kids' Happy Meal with movie-themed toys in March, the chain also featured a movie tie-in adult meal. The film, a Minecraft movie, has grossed nearly $1 billion worldwide. And the time is now 5:53, and we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day. And today's coastal pet of the day love to play together. On your screen right now are Bruno and Rex. It may be hard to see, but there are two animals there. This dynamic duo was submitted to us by Mackenzie in Millsboro. And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen, scan the QR code at the top of your screen, and submit your furry friend to Coast TV News. Then watch weekends from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature. 5:56, and we are going to take another look at your forecast before you head out the door. Bob, we are working on a cooler Thursday with some breeze, a breeze is nice in the summertime, especially August.
I would think so, but maybe not so much for the anglers for the White Marlin Open, Lisa.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bumpy for them with some white caps and larger swells. But we're looking at some sunshine reappearing today, a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, close to 80 degrees, and those gusty east-northeast winds up to about 30 miles per hour at times. Paul Davis 10-day forecast around 80 through the end of the week, and then the weekend looking good. 81 Saturday, partly cloudy, 83 on Sunday, and then getting warm and pretty hot as temperatures climb through the 80s Monday and Tuesday, and then lower 90s Wednesday through Friday. Really nothing in the way of rain, and as of now, it looks like the start of next weekend's looking dry and warm.
Coming up in our 6 o'clock hour, tariff deal deadline decisions. We'll tell you about the last-minute major increase for one country and why the president says this bump was intentional. Coast TV News Today will be right back.